What does it take to start a war against an entire species? Now, seriously, think about it for a second. What kind of inciting incident could possibly be catastrophic enough to trigger a literal genocidal campaign? The kind aimed at wiping a whole race off the face of the earth. You might picture a massive invasion, or maybe a centuries-long blood feud, or some apocalyptic clash of empires. But what if I told you that one of the most infamous acts of vengeance in all of mythology started with something incredibly small? Just a single, petty moment of disrespect. Let's dive right into this explainer and unravel the epic, chronological chain of events that led to this unbelievable conflict. We're looking at the genesis of the legendary snake sacrifice. As you'll see, a seemingly minor human error cascaded into a terrifying curse, a magical duel in the forest, a high-stakes bribe, and ultimately a king's vow to exterminate every single snake in existence. It is a brilliant study in cause and effect.
Section 1. The King's Fatal Mistake.
So our story kicks off with King Parikshit. He's wandering deep in the forest, totally exhausted, delirious even. He stumbles upon a silent, meditating sage, and in a careless, honestly baffling move, he picks up a dead snake and just places it right onto the sage's shoulder. Now look at the stark generational contrast here. On the left, we've got the old Rishi. He's peaceful, he's pure, he's observing a strict vow of silence. Honestly, he doesn't even react to the dead snake. But then look on the right. That's his son, Sringin. Young, fiercely wrathful, and just bursting with this powerful ascetic energy. When a friend tells Sringin about the king's insult, he doesn't exactly offer forgiveness. He completely erupts.
Section 2. The 7-Day Curse. Burning with rage and spiritual energy, Sringin actually touches water to formalize his intent. He unleashes a highly specific, terrifying doom, declaring, "Directed by my words, the snake Takshaka of powerful energy and virulent poison shall, within 7 nights hence, burn with his poison the wretch that hath placed the dead snake upon my unoffending father." I mean, wow. Sringin hasn't just cursed the king, he's literally weaponized the prince of snakes. He's guaranteed the king has exactly 7 nights to live.
This sets up an incredible amount of tension. It's a literal ticking clock. On night 1, the curse is issued, but the peaceful Rishi, remember the guy who actually got the snake put on him, sends a disciple named Gaurmukha to warn the king. Naturally, the king is absolutely terrified. So through nights 2 to 6, King Parikshit is cowering in his mansion, taking every possible heavy precaution against snakes, building up his defenses, making it impenetrable. But then, we hit night 7, the fateful final day. On this exact day, a renowned Brahmana healer named Kasyapa, who possesses these powerful mantras capable of neutralizing any poison, he rushes toward the palace, completely determined to save the king's life.
Section 3. The Bribe in the Forest.
Now we shift our focus away from the heavily guarded palace and into the deep, quiet solitude of the woods. Kasyapa is making his way to the king, right? But he gets intercepted by the snake Takshaka, who happens to be in disguise. When Kasyapa reveals his plan to save King Parikshit, the snake drops the act and reveals his true identity. Takshaka flat out challenges the healer's ability to cure his venom, basically saying, "You are incapable of reviving that monarch when bit by me." It is the ultimate standoff. We're talking the world's deadliest venom versus the world's most powerful healing mantras. And what happens next brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of their magical power. To prove his point, Takshaka turns and bites a massive lord of the forest, a giant banyan tree. Step 1, the bite. Step 2, instantly the virulent poison converts the entire tree into a pile of ashes. Just poof! It's a devastating display of destructive power. But look at step 3. Kasyapa doesn't even blink. He calmly steps right up, chants his mantras, neutralizes the poison, and completely resurrects the banyan tree from the ashes. He passes the test with flying colors. So here's the crucial point. Takshaka realizes he's got a major problem on his hands. He absolutely cannot win a battle of magic against Kasyapa. And if the healer reaches that palace, the snake is going to become a laughingstock because his legendary poison will just be neutralized. So Takshaka cleverly pivots. He switches from a battle of magic to a battle of greed. Figuring out that Kasyapa is really only doing this for the money, Takshaka smiles and makes an offer. "O sinless one, take from me more wealth than what thou expectest from that monarch and go back." And the real tragedy here, Kasyapa takes the bribe. He takes the wealth, turns right around, and wends his way back home, leaving the king utterly defenseless.
Section 4. The secret witness.
With the only man capable of curing the king successfully bought off and out of the picture, Takshaka slips through the heavily guarded mansion in disguise. And the blunt, tragic fact is this: the king was assassinated. Takshaka blasts the virtuous king with the unholy fire of his poison, fulfilling Sringin's curse to the absolute letter. So, with the king dead, his son, Janamejaya, is quickly installed as the new monarch.
But hold on, that leaves us with a pretty massive logical loophole, doesn't it? Who survived to tell the tale? Think about it. Takshaka and Kasyapa met in total solitude out in the woods. Takshaka isn't going to go around telling everyone he had to resort to a bribe to get the job done, and Kasyapa certainly isn't going to admit he let a king die for a pile of gold. So if the king is dead, and the healer went home in secret, how in the world did the new king's ministers find out about this corrupt exchange in the forest to even tell King Janamejaya?
The answer is honestly an incredible plot twist. It's a crazy case of collateral damage. There was a hidden wood gatherer. A menial worker had actually climbed up into the high dry branches of that exact banyan tree to break off wood for sacrificial fuel. He was completely unnoticed by both the snake and the healer. So when Takshaka bit the tree to show off his poison, this poor man was instantly reduced to ashes along with it. But, and here's the kicker, when Kasyapa used his magic to resurrect the tree, he accidentally resurrected the wood gatherer too. This unseen witness sat perfectly still up in the branches, heard the entire corrupt bribe, survived the ordeal, and went straight to the ministers to report exactly what happened.
Our final act. Section 5. The Vow of Vengeance.
So, fast forward back to the present. The ministers have just revealed this newly uncovered truth to King Janamejaya, and the emotional impact is absolute. Knowing his father's death was the result of a malicious bribe, he is just sorely afflicted with grief. He squeezes his hands in fury, sheds copious tears, and breathes a long, hot breath of anger. He realizes that if Kasyapa had just arrived at the palace like he was supposed to, his father assuredly would have lived. Takshaka didn't just kill his father, he cheated to do it.
And from that boiling grief comes this booming, world-altering climax. Janamejaya states, "The act of aggression is great on the part of the wretch Takshaka, who gave wealth unto that Brahmana in order that he might not revive the king. I must now avenge myself." He doesn't just vow to kill Takshaka. Oh no, he declares that he will devise the means of exterminating the entire snake race. The snake sacrifice is born. We're talking total war against a species, all to avenge an underhanded trick in the woods.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. We started with an exhausted king just tossing a dead snake onto a sage's shoulder. That tiny, careless action birthed the curse, which birthed the bribe, which killed a king, which ignited a literal war against an entire species. It is the ultimate mythological butterfly effect. So, I have to ask you, if a single dead snake can spark the extermination of a species, what unseen chain reactions are your smallest actions setting into motion today? Think on that, and let it remind you of the incredible power of cause and effect.